So we want to talk about the drug smuggling era of your life. Now, at this point in your life, obviously, you know, you cover this really well in the book, and which I was really interested about it. For me, it's exciting. It's you know, we see movies get made about this stuff and sensationalized and so forth. For me to know somebody in racing that was so successful, yet had this whole other life that was incredibly dangerous. I don't know. Have you come to terms with, you know, obviously that took a lot away from you, and I understand. I can't even imagine how that affected your life. But now you're here. You're here a podcast. You wrote a book. You're doing a documentary. Are you at a point in your life where you're comfortable, you know, discussing that part of your history?
Oh, for sure.
And
oh yeah, for sure.
And sort of using it as a message.
Oh yeah.
You know,
you don't want to get involved in that.
Right. So, at what part of your life, at what point in your life did you become a guy capable of doing that? And in the book, a couple people come up to you at points in your career and say, "Man, this is something you'd be good at." And it was kind of maybe tongue in cheek, and then it become more serious conversation. And you said at one point, the money sounds good. I'm gonna go give this a run. All I got to do is count the bales. That's not a big deal. I'm just a counter. Yeah. So, at what point in your life did you sort of move from a guy that would go count bales to somebody who thought, "Man, I'm gonna get a little further into this and make a little bit more money"?
It wasn't further. You know, here's what happens to you, Dale, is you start out and I want to make $100,000 just to get my bills paid off.
Right.
You know, so I raced for a living, and it was hard at times.
You had a lot of debt.
A lot of debt, and you go and you pitch some bells and catch some bells and count, and you see everything everybody's got and what they're doing. It takes money to fuel all this.
Yeah.
Without money, you're not fueling this. That's not happening. And that's where the money come from to get me to Daytona in '79.
Right.
I don't believe to this day that it's any worse than moonshine.
Sure.
And this whole sport was basically built on moonshine. And I could look at myself in the mirror and deal with what I was doing because it was weed. It was marijuana. It wasn't cocaine. It wasn't heroin. It wasn't none of that crap. And I had opportunity to do all that because my credibility was so good. When I told you I was going to be there, I was there. When I told you I was going to do it, I did it. And my equipment was like my race cars.
Right.
It finished because if you can't finish, you can't win.
Yeah.
And with that, when you don't finish and you throw it over, it floats with you. You're not getting rid of it. You know what I mean? So you got to finish. And I did my smuggling just like I raced.
Yeah. So you talked about starting at the first time you ever got involved in any of that. The guy asked you to go on the boat as a counter just to count the bales, and then you created your own operation. How big was that operation at its peak?
It got pretty. It's like that train running down the track and just going and going and going, and then everything gets bigger.
Were
You've been there, you're there, you know.
Were you always running a boat, or did it become so big?
No, I got to where there was other people driving the boats, but I was there. I was there for every one of them.
So
The operation never went to the racetrack without me being there.
Yeah.
But explain to the fans listening to this podcast, when you're talking about running a boat, what exactly are you talking about here? Like for the fans listening to this that don't know this smuggling story, tell them what you were doing.
Well, basically what you do is you get the equipment, and you had a connection, and the connection was good. I drove hot rods. We all know what that was about. And when it's time to go, you go. They tell you to go, and you got to go a certain place. You got to go to Fiery Rock, or you got to go to Bimini, or you got to go to North Light, or you got a point you got to go. But you got to remember that's a stick sticking up out there. We didn't have GPS then. We had a compass and a watch. You throw a line out in the water if you broke down and see where the current was and just how much you were drifting, how much you had changed course. And it was pretty hard to go out there in the middle of the night. It's dark out there. There's no lights. And I mean dark. If it's a cloudy night, there's no stars, there's no moon. I mean, you can't see your hand right there. So it was a challenge. It really was a challenge. I went, like, when I first got the boat, 24-foot Sea Ray, I went 13 times and almost lost my house and had my race cars all put up. I couldn't afford to buy tires for them. And I just wouldn't quit. I persevered. Bobby Allison taught me that a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's no quit.
So you went the first several trips and didn't even get a bail.
Nothing.
I don't understand that.
How
Come?
Because they didn't show up. They didn't make it.
Oh.
They broke down or they got busted. Or, yeah.
So you
What?
were losing money. You're doing this to get money, and you're losing money.
Killed me.
I got you. You know, there's something about this. I mean, like you had some lines in there in the book that were, like you used a lyric from a song, "Smugglers Blues," and it's because it's basically saying that
Easy.
smuggling is easy and it's easy money, and then you call BS that. You're like, nothing's easy. So my question to you is, the risk and the reward. At some point, it seemed like you mentioned enough things. You're talking about 20-foot seas, and you're talking about your 13 times going 0 for 13 and get before making money. When did it not seem like this isn't worth it? Maybe this isn't worth it. I have my theory is you were trying to get to Cup, and you were trying to pay your ride to Cup, and so that
Exactly.
that's the why question.
Why I did it. Exactly.
But at some point, did it seem like, well, this isn't going to get me to Cup?
Yeah, you're busted, to get there. And I never got busted. I got told on, and it was a dry conspiracy. It didn't happen. We were there, and it didn't happen. I come home, put everything away, and went to Syracuse and won Syracuse. But like when we finally got successful, when you drive through that cut and you get that stuff unloaded and you get it in the house and you get it back to people that own it, it's like winning Daytona or winning Indianapolis 500.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I mean,
So
the adrenaline rush is
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
See, I never got that from reading the book. I mean, I did understand that you got an adrenaline rush from it and that you found some thrill in it, but I never took. That's the first time I'm hearing that. Once you were done with a job, it was like, all right,
Winning a
All right.
race.
hell yeah,
It's like winning a race.
right,
It's
incredible.
like afterwards having a beer with everybody,
Yeah. That's fascinating.
But it's hard. There's no end to it. Like, once you get it home, you got to get it offloaded. You got to get it in the house. You got to scale it. You got to go through it. You got to get your percentage out. You got to get the rest of the people who own it. Now you got to get it out the front door. The front door is different than the back door. The back door is a boat. The front door is a street. So you got to come up with a deal on the front. A camping trailer that's there, with floors all done in it and everything out of it, and put a door in the house so you get to the trailer. And they got to take the trailer in and out every weekend, like they're camping with it. So the neighbors out there think that that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Or
fascinating, actually.
A sprinkler system company digging in there, or putting plants in, or a roofing company. I mean, it had to be something to get. You got to get it out.
He got just as creative. All the creativity he was putting in race cars, he was putting them also
It
in
seems
those trucks.
exhausting. Like
does.
how the charade
Right.
seems exhausting to try to cover up the actual operation.
How about the back when the boat's tied up to the docks and neighbors? You take them fishing, you take them to have a drink, and they bring it back. The day you come in, they're standing on top of it. We're cooking fish and cleaning fish. You know what I mean? Like,
That had to make you nervous.
well, a little bit. How about when you're over in the Bahamas and the cops are standing on top of it? I mean,
On top of your boat?
yeah.
On top of the
On top-
drugs.
on
They
top
come
of-
down.
on
They
top
come
of
down
the
every
cargo.
night. They'd have a beer with us and talk and stand right on top of it and start underneath their feet. Like, haven't y'all got someplace to go?
One of the craziest stories from the smuggling days for me in the book is a close call you had where the boat filled up with gasoline. And tell that story, and I want to ask after you're done if is that the one real scare.
The pinnacle of the scare.
Was there
That was a pretty good scare. I've had some other ones, but that one there, we had moved 2 times, 3 times trying to get in line with the freighters to get what we had to get. And finally we got moved around by North Light, and we got loaded. And that was a small load. It was probably 2,000 pounds or something. It was a 20 or 30-foot boat. And I smelled gas. What the heck is that? We put a bigger tank in it and covered it in carpet and rod holders and so it looked right. Well, kid at work for me did the lines and stuff. Evidently, the tie wrap broke or he didn't tie it off enough, and the line got into the balancer. I flipped it back up and I look, and the gas is all the way up to the alternators. If we'd ever tried to start it, it would have blown up, killed us all. And I had a rider with me, a good friend of mine.
And you're still at the dock.
No,
No,
we're
you're
out
not.
in
You're out in the water.
ocean.
You're out in the middle ocean.
Yeah, we're about 70, 80 miles out.
Okay.
Christ. So we start bailing the gas out. Well, the gas just going to float with you. We bail the gas out the best we can. I get on a handheld and I call it to look, I've got a problem, big problem. We need to get this shit off this boat and get it to somebody else. And I don't know what we're going to do here with this thing. But just keep bailing, keep bailing. I'm going to go gather some soap for you, boats cleaner. And, Don works real good with that. So they go gather all they can gather, all the boats cleaner and Don everything everybody's got, because there's probably 20, 30 boats out there to do it. And he brings that to me. Well, when he brought that to me, I put the rider off on a boat with him.
Yeah,
So,
you had a buddy on the boat.
Yeah, I know, since the boat was blowing up here.
Right.
You'd have seen that explosion from Miami, So I put him off the boat. We bailed and put water in it and bailed and put water in it and bailed. And I dump all this soap and boat cleaner in it and I put some more water in it and I wash it out. And I fill it back up again and go, it's got to be easier way. And I think about it. I said, I'm going to turn the switches back on. They're not supposed to, they're waterproof. They shouldn't ignite. And they should the bilge pumps. So I flipped the bilge pumps on and pumped it out and filled it up and pumped it out. Well, now with that tank leaking, the fuel line, we don't have the fuel we had. That's why that tank was in there.
Right.
So I borrowed about 10 gallons, and that's all I could get because everybody else already topped off. They bring their fuel to Jerry Doe's. I said, wow, this is going to be close. So I start back, and I get all the way back, and I get about 5 miles out, and it shuts off. Oh, no. I think about it. I said, well, I got to take the floor up in this thing. I take the floor up. The tank was under it, and I take the tank apart. And the pickup goes down, and it's about that far down, and there's probably that much, an inch of gas in the
There's
bottom.
an inch of gas in
There's gas leading
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
So you had to fashion some more to the pickup.
So a little MacGyver here. So I took the fuel line apart off the ray cord, got me a piece of the clamp, put it on the bottom, put it all back together, put the floor back in, send the console back over, bolted it back down. All right, here we go. I drive on in. While I get to where I'm supposed to be at the marina, and the cat that's running the travel lift is supposed to lift me out. Not there. They're going to use a forklift. You got to remember now, there's no fuel in the back of this thing, and all that's in the front. He lifts it out, and it's going like this. I'm going, oh. And I grab the back, and I'm hanging on the back. He says, get away from that, man, you crazy. I said, nah, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
If it dumps over, I'm done anyway.
Right.
So get away from that thing, man. I got away from it. I'm just watching it. Finally, he sets it on the trailer. I could never, ever wait to get that thing out of the marina and get it back.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Was that so?
Unbelievable.
You said there were some crazier stories and some closer calls. Do you remember those?
Here's a real good one. They call me up. I'm at home. I'm in bed. And they got a 58-foot cruise craft, and it's got probably 15,000 pounds on it.
15,000 pounds.
Of drugs.
And they call me, marijuana, and they call me, oh, this thing's going down. I said, what do you want me to do? Well, we need some help. We need some help. Well, I'm putting a swimming pool at my house, and there's a 4-inch mudsucker there. I said, all right, I'm on my way. And I called a couple of my guys, and I had my wife put that mudsucker in the back of my dually, up wide open, all the way to South, Miami, and I lived in Fort Lauderdale. And to get there, and this thing won't start. We're pulling. This thing's rolling over on its side now. Water's running out of the portholes. All of a sudden, I hear sirens and all this, and here they come down the waterway, chasing this boat. I went, oh.
You thought they were coming to y'all.
This thing's going in. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, all this stuff floating on, along the boat and up around the boat.
What is?
Just soap and bilge cleaner and everything,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They come past us, and I'm looking at them. I just stopped and stood still. They went down into the waterway and turned on and checked them back the other way. And I said, where'd they just go? They were filming a movie.
Oh, my goodness.
Holy
Wow.
Oh, my God. Finally, we got the mudsucker going. We got it pumped out, and then we saved it.
Oh my God, that's a close
Do
one.
you have any idea how upset they would be if you sank behind the house with 15,000 pounds of weed?
How upset? Yeah.
Yeah.
How upset? What do you think?
Way upset.
Like
upset.
life or death upset?
Way upset. Yeah. I had a partner that thought he could move everything and do this and do all that, and we kept keeping a bunch of their stuff one time, and they had him. They gathered him up, had him for ransom.
Damn.
I said, oh, God, how did we get into this,
Yeah.
But that's when you get out too far and you believe in people that do that and don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So did you fear for your life, or were you fear for your getting caught?
I feared for getting caught.
But you never feared
No,
for your life.
No, because listen to me. If you do the right thing, you don't steal. There's plenty of money there for everybody. Why would you want to steal from them? There's no sense in that.
Right.
And you do the right thing. And you tell me you're going to be there, and you're there. Like I told them, I said, "Why we get this big trip? I'm going to buy you all Rolexes, presidentials." That's nothing to them. You know what I mean? That's like a piece of bubble gum.
Yeah.
But for me to do what I said I was going to do, I bought, I don't know, 10 Rolexes. I couldn't believe it. Like, you really did that? I said, yeah, I told you I was going to do it. So I was a candidate for all the time of them wanting me to do bigger, better things, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
It seems like that you knew at some point that the whole thing was going to unravel.
Sooner or later.
And-
They followed us for 4 years.
Right. And so, and during that time, are you thinking, I want to get out of this? I'm too far in. I can't get out. Like, what's going through your mind?
I was pretty close, I think, with the Cup deal, with the 28 car.
Yeah.
And plus, I was there with Raymond Beadle, third with Reggie and Raymond on that, and all Milwaukee and all that. And I had to bail, and they didn't understand. You know, like Raymond didn't understand. Gary, you can't. I said, I got to. It's going to ruin it all for all of us.
Right.
I put Tim Richmond in the car.
But-
But then I put Rusty. When Tim went with Hendrick, I
Yeah.
put Rusty in the car.
But in the smuggling game, you knew it was going to come to an end. You knew the cops were watching. Why didn't you try to get out sooner? If you knew they were watching for 4 years,
Conspiracy is conspiracy. If it's 5 years, 6 years, 4 years, conspiracy.
You
and
knew
that's
you
what
were-
gets you. We were pretty good at what we did as far as getting in and doing everything right and people and house and all that. But you can't control that.
yeah,
And that's what gets you.
But I don't understand. So
he
his
felt like
question-
I get what you're telling me is when you learned that the cops were on your trail, you knew you were getting the time whether you stopped now or kept digging.
When they come to arrest me, I run 11th and 500, cut a tire down,
Yeah.
one the info and all that. And they come at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing they said to me was, you got a better career and future than anybody we're arresting. And we're arresting 70 people this morning. I went,
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of people going down.
but they've been 4 years.
Yeah,
When they come for you, buddy, they got it. Don't you think? When you see, it's in the book here, when you see United States government versus Gary Balough, that's your first clue.
It gets
Yeah.
your attention.
How are you going to beat the United States government?
Yeah.
Man.
How
I
much?
thought I could. You know, you make a little money. I'm a good attorney.
Right.
And I could have won it. I should have almost won it. But they wouldn't sever me from the other 9 defendants. And they were, on tape and just bail lists and names everywhere. And I mean, oh, my God, guilty of sin.
yeah.
But that's the way it goes. You're in.
Gary, I mean, my question, the thing that Dale and I would ask each other is, before we started reading the book, we were like, why would someone with this much talent and this much opportunity, or, promise to get where he wants to go, get caught up with it? And then as you read the book, you realize this was what you call the shortcut plan, or this was a way to
Get
your
there.
dream.
Finally
And
get
that
there.
answers the question why.
Yeah.
And that answers the question why. But when it didn't happen, well, hold on. Before I ask that, how much can you somehow qualify us or quantify how much of this might have actually funded your racing? And we talk about the number of wins, but I think you must have been in this more before that I even realized. So, how much of this do you think funded your career, percentage-wise? 50%.
My
of
early
it?
career, none. I wasn't involved in none.
At the
But
end.
at the end, when we finally got to the cup race with Harvey and so forth, that's what helped us. And then, when we went to Syracuse in 1980 with the Batmobile, there's money there to do it right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it didn't.
it takes buku money to make all this happen.
So didn't ever contribute to your cup stuff?
Yeah.
It did. It did.
It
That's
did.
how I finally got
So
there.
it did.
With
so
Harvey, yeah.
In a way, you could say that was a successful. Whatever the path you chose, it helped you achieve it to a degree. Is that fair to
But
say?
here's what I'm going to say. I got the 75 car and got to racing and got to be there. And then Raymond Beadle seen me, and we got to become friends, and I'm drag races with him, and he wanted to get involved. And we got Reggie Jackson involved with me. We're pretty well on our way. We had Barry Dawson had some good people put together.
Barry Dobson, yeah.
Yeah, good people. When I won a championship with Rusty in old Milwaukee and blah, 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 well, I knew that I was fixing to be indicted. But I went to my attorney, and he said, you're 300%. I said, 300% of 1,000? He said, no, 300 of 100.
That's right.
Boy, them were bad odds.
To clarify, if I remember right, you're talking about the chances you had to beat this, right?
Yeah, no,
and he
of
said
being
you had
indicted.
300%
Of being
of being
arrested.
indicted. Right.
It was a
and
done
he said,
deal.
no, you're 300%.
Right.
In other words, you have no chance of
No.
getting out of this.
So-
Well,
You're going to be arrested.
you're
You're
gonna
going
be
to be
arrested.
indicted.
there was also a chance, though, but you had to do something that you didn't want to do.
No, I wouldn't do it. I haven't done it, and
Yeah,
wouldn't
that-
do it, and not going to do it.
Yeah, so you were real careful, and you talk about that in the book, being careful about certain details of the crimes and the individuals involved. Is that why you feel like there's no fear of any danger for you, even today?
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't walk around looking over your shoulder at all,
Not at all.
really, and never did.
Nope.
Wow.
Companies love me. The Bahamians love me.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about no money.
Right.
And the people I work for and work with, I said nothing. Just like, Dale, all the years I've raced, I've never protested nobody in race it.
Yeah.
Never. And I won't walk up to the scale and watch you go through and tell the officials and blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. I'll walk around, look at it, and see what you got, and I'll come next
Learn,
week
yeah,
with
make
that
it
and something better.
During the years of your appeals, you continued to race and win. I'm going to rattle off some of those victories here in a bit, but you had to know that jail was certain in your future, as you just said. 300%. Your lawyer's telling you out of 100%. How did you block that out?
The hardest thing was to get that close with a cop deal, a real good deal.
Oh yeah,
And not
have
be
that
able
in the back of your
the
mind.
thing that I wanted to do from the time I
Yeah,
was
and
9,
you
10
couldn't
years
do it.
old. No.
But you went and ran all pro, and you won the biggest races.
Well,
that
I
could
wanted
be
to race. I
won.
wanted to race. I
know.
wanted to race.
So
But yet, I raced all pro. I raced that late model car, like what I learned from the cop deal.
I know, but mentally,
Made me better.
Mentally, how did you block that out, knowing that you were going to go to jail for years? I mean, how did you? A normal person or
No.
or me
Yeah.
would have said, I'm not.
That's
What's there to
anxiety.
race for?
Right.
Like I've got nothing to look forward to, but you kept going about your business
Won a
as
national
race car driver
championship.
and won races.
Won a championship.
I
It
just
had
don't
$1 million
understand.
$1 million sponsor for 14 races.
I don't
in that
know
career.
how you
Late
were able
model.
to do that.
Yeah.
Like you went, so you
'Cause I thought I was going to win the appeal. I never give up.
in your mind, you never gave up.
Never
You
gave
went to the 1986 Snowball Derby and won. A Saturday night in January 1987, you celebrated the 1986 All Pro Championship. That following Monday, you walked into prison.
Checked in.
Like I can't even
One
imagine.
of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
Drivers these days, a sinus cold will take over their mind while they're racing, and to be honest with you, and probably cause them to not perform as well. I mean, and that's just, I'm not knocking drivers these days. I'm just saying it's hard for a normal person to compartmentalize even the minor things that are going wrong because you're such a creature of habit and routine.
Yeah.
So you've got your life on the line in your head, and that's a fair question that he's asking. How do you race and win while that's going on?
How can anybody do anything and do it so perfectly
Yeah, but
with that over
why
their
did you
head?
race? You raced to win.
Yeah.
The only time you ever sat down a hot rod, you wanted to win.
Well, I mean, I think it speaks to your talent.
all about winning.
I think it speaks to your pure talent as a driver and your ability to take a car and make it better than everybody else's. That to me probably is the most fascinating part of your career. I mean, I'm curious about the smuggling side of it, but the fact that you did what you did during the appeal process to me is
It's amazing.
We had 1,142 motions. Those are from case
explain
law.
that to me.
Those
What does that mean?
In other words, when you're in trial and they use something against you and somebody else has won on it, that's case law.
Yeah.
That's appellate issue. The judge let something go through that somebody else had won on. And you have to have real good attorneys to stand up and appel it.
Yeah.
We had 1,142 motions, took them 4 years, and didn't win on one. How did about people all win on that?
Yeah.
So you keep thinking, well, there's a shot. They did so many things wrong during trial.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But listen to me. They pay the judge.
Oh.
The agents get paid every Friday. They don't care how long it takes.
Right.
How are you going to beat that? They
Yeah.
got all the money in the world. You're not beating that.
But you thought you were.
Oh, well, yeah.
We all sit here every week on the show and talk about racing because we all understand racing from different levels. Especially Mike's got the PRN, he's got the driving in and growing up in it. I got the growing up in it. But I don't understand things like what it's like to serve time.
Horrible.
And I want to hear from you, since you're a racer and I can identify with you and he can identify with you. I really want to know your words, what it's like to serve time, because I don't understand that.
Well, it is so hard to have somebody tell you when to get up, when to go to bed, when to eat, and lock you down, and you can't watch this and you can't do that. It's incredible that way. But my first deal was you have all your family. And it's like you can't keep in your mind and survive prison and time and try to keep your life going with your family. It's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, it's like it takes all that away from you. It takes and puts you over here someplace away from everybody and everything. It's brutal. And then when they drag you someplace on a writ because they want to re-indict you and they drag you to every crap hole they can drag you to, that's when you really know that what they're doing to you and where you're at. I mean, the worst thing in the world is to get involved in a situation where you're ever going to have to do any of that. I mean, what I would do to change that, I mean, yeah, I've had some nice stuff, nice boats and planes and cars and race cars and homes, and did a lot for my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, and my in-laws, and my children for school, and this and this and that, but it's got to be a better way. And the better way was racing. I just probably got impatient because I was going to get there, but it was also for some money that was in the background. And you see all that, and you get tired of being without and doing without and struggling. So you get tired of your knees bleeding. So you take that chance. Well, it's like, to me, I started with a hobby car, and I got to a late model car, and I got to sportsman cars, and then finally you get the comp cars. And everyone had spread cars and midgets and a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? And wanted most of it. And so you get involved in that, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was real careful not to get myself so involved that I had to do anything, such as in a mafia life. Oh, we can help you. We can get you out of this, but you have to work for us. No. So I was pretty fortunate I never got involved that deep. And the same thing with the Colombians. I mean, they're all my friends, and they're family. They're really family, man. All you got to do is do the right thing with them. They're not ruthless people. They're good people. But it's called doing what you got to do and do what you say you're going to do. And my dad taught me at 11 years old, treat people the way you want to be treated. And I've lived my whole life that way. Sometimes that bites you, but on the other side, that's the way I want to be. I mean, that's the way I've been, and that's the way I want to be.
Gary, I'm going to ask you one more thing, if you don't mind. It just made me think of that. We talked about the first time you got involved in smuggling was to help sort of speed up the process of getting you into the Cup Series and affording that, because it is a big undertaking financially. What was the reason for the second time? So when I read about that, it made me think, wow, I mean, you knew the feds were watching you for 4 years in the 80s, in the early 80s, the first time. How could you even think about going back in there? Were they not still watching you? Did they not keep an eye on you even when you're out and you're done and you've served your time?
They do, but they don't. I mean, they do, with your probation and all that. I mean, when this all started, I did 4 years on appeal. Then I did 4 years, then I did 5 years on paper, which I was up here doing that. Then the second time, I got a 7-year sentence, and I did 68 months in and 5 years on paper afterwards. So add all that up, it's about 13, 14 years. I don't know.
But why did you go in the second time?
The second time, because my knees were bleeding. I couldn't get a sponsorship. I couldn't make no money.
You were at the bottom?
At the bottom, at the very, very bottom. And I went to Bemini fishing. And you got to remember, all them kids over there now have grown up. I made Christmas for all them kids. I'd load my adults up with $30,000, $40,000 worth of toys to take over there, and we'd have Christmas. And they needed bikes, and they needed this, they needed that. Whatever they needed, we figured out how to get it.
Yeah.
Now they're grown up. They remember that you Gary kept his mouth shut. Grandpa, they call me.
Yeah.
He's our hero. You need to do this. You need to. No. I don't need to do that. Yeah. We got this. Blah, 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 blah. So you do one trip.
One trip's all it takes.
Reeled in.
You're back in.
Man, you're in.
Golly.
Man.
I swear.
Because I'm going to tell you something. The only thing I've done in my life that was exciting as racing is smuggling.